Alright, so we are back for another Dokkan battle video, and in today's video we are going to be ranking every single unit from Worldwide Download Celebration 2023, all the way from the new LRs, to the banner units, to the Carnival LRs, free-to-play units, EZAs, all that. And I gotta say, this has to be by far one of the most controversial celebrations. Like, there's been a lot of W's, don't get me wrong, but there was also a lot of L's, and a lot of places where, like, it just didn't make a lot of sense what they were doing. So, I wanted to rank all the units because, of course, the celebration did literally just end, I think, like a couple days ago. So, we are moving on to other stuff, and now that the celebration's wrapped up, I figured this would be the perfect opportunity to do this. So, first off, let me know in the comments how you guys are feeling about this celebration, and, you know, just the celebration in its entirety, because, like I said, it did just end, and yeah, I guess we can go and get right into it. So, first off, starting off with probably the main unit of the celebration. Like, if there was to be one unit where they would just throw as the face of the celebration, it would be this guy. We got the blue Goku and Vegeta. Alright, so the blue Goku and Vegeta. They're good once they fuse. And they're still good in the blue Goku and Vegeta state, but considering we haven't had a Vegito in forever, considering this is, you know, Worldwide Download Celebration 2023 LR, I don't really think anyone's disagreeing with me when I say they should have been better. Sure, they've got the guard for the first 4 turns. They get the dodge in slot 1. They are stacking attack and defense, but you can't tell me once they lose that guard that their defense is just not good. Like, you're just relying on dodge at that point. Because for the first 4 turns, you have not stacked up enough to then just rely on their raw defense because you've lost the guard. So, they're good, especially once they fuse, but there's a lot of scenarios where you can get caught with these guys. And then once you do lose the guard, and then you're on turn, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, and you haven't gotten the fusion off, then it's going to be really difficult with these guys. Because once you go into Vegito, he's amazing. You're never going to struggle with this guy. He's just, I would say he's like the best unit in the game once you fuse, really. But, you know, the blue Goku and Vegeta, there's a lot of room to struggle with them. So, I guess a solid spot for them would be a really low A tier or a high B tier. I'm thinking a low A tier, because they're good. Like I said, Vegito is insane. I think I'm going to put them in A tier just because of the potential they have with the Vegito, but, dude, they could just get caught in the blue transformation, or the blue state of them. But anyway, moving on to the next unit, we've got the merged Zamasu. So, there's literally one issue with this guy, so I'm just putting him in Z tier. He's amazing. I love him. I think they handled him perfectly. He's got an amazing leader skill, especially for these extreme class teams, because he does lead worldwide chaos, which is really good. A lot of, you know, extreme class units are on here. So, in terms of his leader skill, very beneficial. And then in terms of, you know, just everything in his kit, he's very good. The one issue I have with him is, you know, his name, right? And I'm pretty sure everybody has this issue with him. It's really weird that he's not called half-corrupted Fuse Zamasu, because then it makes it to where these other Fuse Zamasu units, which I guess I can pull up really quick, he's not linking with. And more specifically, this guy right here, that really affects, because this is one of the main units you're running on this guy's team. So then if you get a rotation with both of them, you're not getting any links activated. And because there's no support between 2 of these guys, it makes them on the same rotation with each other very, very bad, because you're not getting any links. And then obviously, like I said, there's no support, so there's no benefit to running them next to each other. Like I said, it would have just made so much more sense if this guy was called half-corrupted Fuse Zamasu, and then they could have linked. This guy could have been great in slot 1, this guy could have been great in slot 2, but I literally don't know why they didn't do that. It makes no sense, but I guess Dokkan doesn't like to make sense sometimes. So, I think Z tier is pretty good for him. As a unit, he's amazing. Like I said, he's exactly what his extreme class teams needed. But the name thing, like, that trips me up. I don't get that. Like, it would have been so easy. Just put half-corrupted. And then not only does it make his teams better, but it makes his spot on his teams better. Whatever. I'll stop complaining about it. Very weird, but as a unit, he's amazing. And then next, we move to, personally, one of my biggest disappointments, just the banners usually, is the banner units. So, banner units always are important. I don't really think people understand this, but banner units have the perfect opportunity to be very good partners for the new unit. So that's why you see most banner units are like a support, or typically they're good defensively, or at least the good banner units are supports and they are good defensively. And both of these guys are supports. But unfortunately, they kind of suck defensively. Like, the Zamasu does rely on dodge, so then if you get lucky with dodging, of course it makes him more valuable, but I don't know, like, you need, I think, to face a super class enemy to get the full build up with all of his dodge and all that, and that's just so difficult to get. So, Zamasu, I'm putting him at like a C tier. I mean, because he's a good support, but defensively, I don't know, but he's like a high C tier, so he's like almost B, you know? And then the Mai, I think I'm putting him in C tier as well. I don't know, maybe they both deserve B tier. Maybe I'm kind of disrespecting them a little here, because they're both, I don't want to say they're good, but they have value. This Mai has damage reduction. Don't let that confuse you, though. She still takes a lot of damage. I brought her in a couple difficult events. This damage reduction is nice, but she is still taking a lot of damage. But I guess with, like, normals, you know, she might be okay if you just float her off, let her do her thing in slot 3. You know, she's a support. She also is orb changing. So she can be useful, but I don't know. She's not amazing defensively. Her support is solid, but it's not like insane. And then same with the Zamasu, and then he's even weaker defensively because he's got that dodge. And then majority of the time, you're only going to have a 30% chance to dodge. So yeah, I think C tier is actually good for them. Their support is decent, but defensively, they're just not good enough. And then next up, we've got the EZA Trunks. So EZA Trunks. Overall, he's a very good unit. For the first couple turns, defensively, he is struggling, but offensively, he's going to be good. He's also a support, which is really good, especially for a unit like him. You know, you can just slap him on the team, let him do his thing. He's got that key support for all superclass allies, which obviously you're running him with a lot of superclass allies. So most units around him are going to benefit from that. Also, he's stacking attack. He's greatly raising defense for 3 turns. So then if you get maybe a couple additional supers, and then you go into the next turn, you transform into Super Saiyan, you carry over some defense from the super attack effect in his first transformation or his first state. Then he could be looking pretty good defensively here. You get a couple stacks in, and then defensively, he can look good. But like I said, dude, for those first couple turns, this guy is not good defensively. I mean, he's only sitting at like, 300k at most, 300, 400k once you go into this transformation right here. And considering that's only his second appearance, it's not horrible. But still, from supers, and even from normals in some events now, he's going to take a bit of damage. And it can be pretty difficult because this is a stacker, so you want to keep him on main rotation to stack up with him as quick as possible. So then keeping him on main rotation means you're going to put him in slot 1 or 2. And then for the first couple turns, you cannot put this guy in slot 1, so you kind of have to throw him in slot 2. And then even there's going to be difficulties. So I like this guy. Like I said, when he stacks, he can look insane. Once you hit turn 7, 8, or even 6 in some situations if you get lucky with additionals. Defensively, he's going to be a god. Offensively, well, I mean, with his additionals and all that, and his crits built in, yeah, he's going to be a god as well. He's going to be doing a lot of damage. And then once you go into here, dude, it's over. You're doing like 20 plus million attack stats. You've got your guaranteed crit. You've got your support, your orb changing. Defensively, because you stacked up a lot, he's going to look pretty impressive if you get a fair amount of key spheres. So this guy has potential to be amazing. But unfortunately, for the first couple turns, because he's weak defensively, that does put a big, it's detrimental to his kit. That's what I'm trying to say. Because for the first couple turns defensively, if you're weak, that could get you killed. So it's kind of a big flaw to have in your kit. But his ceiling is very high. It's just him dying for the first couple turns, or him having the potential to die for the first couple turns, is pretty important and something you're going to want to keep in mind. So a great unit. I'm going to put him in a high B tier. I really like his potential. It's good, right? I mean, his potential's high, like I said. But defensively for the first couple turns, it could get you killed. But he's like a really high B tier, like borderline A tier. So keep that in mind. And then next, we got the AGL Zamasu. Yeah, Z tier. They handled his EZA just amazing. He was great. I don't think they could have done anything to make him any better than they did. He was just amazing. And then we've got a lot of these sub-EZAs. Or they weren't sub-EZAs, but... Or some of them were. They were just like side EZAs, really. So this Tech Gohan, he's pretty good. I think he's a support, and he's just a solid unit all around. We'll put him in B tier. This Trunks is crazy. I'm actually thinking about putting him in Z tier. This guy's raising defense for multiple turns, and he's got damage reduction, and he's working well with a lot of the new LRs. Actually, you know what? I think just because, like, you could run this guy next to the new Carnival LR Future Gohan, and as a rotation, it's busted. So I'm thinking I'm going to throw this guy in Z tier, actually. Like, me personally, I've got him rainbowed level 10 links on my main account, so he's always cooking for me. He's at, like, 500k plus defense with, like, 50% damage reduction, and then his attack stats are looking pretty reasonable as well. So, I think Z tier is fair for him. I mean, if you have him, you know he's crazy. And then the Trunks and Mai, very good as well. I think I'm going to... Well, no, because then I don't want to put Trunks and Mai above this guy. Okay, I think I got to put the Trunks in A tier. Like I said, he's borderline A tier. So, yeah, we'll throw him in A tier for now. And then, yeah, I'm liking this. And then this Zamasu is really good as well. We're going to put him in A tier. He's got damage reduction, but unfortunately, he's not as good as the Trunks, which does suck because the extreme class teams probably could have used, like, the help. And he still does provide help to those teams. It's just he's not as good as the Trunks. So I would put him a little bit below him, you know, A tier. And then we've got the future Gohan. So this guy, I actually don't have any issues with. This is a high A tier, like a high A tier. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's make an S tier, and then that's what I'm gonna do. Oh wait, I added 2. Hang on. Sorry, I never used the tier list. Let's do this. We're gonna make an S tier, and then we're gonna put him here, and then. Ooh, how are we gonna do this? Yeah, we're gonna do this. I think this is fair. Because this guy is really good. I love his EZA. He's a support. He's got the damage reduction. In his base transformation, or in his base state, he can take a little bit of damage, but once you get the transformation into Super Saiyan off, he's literally untouchable. He's amazing. So, I'm a big fan of this unit. I think his EZA was nearly flawless. Next up, we've got the Carnival LR Future Gohan, Instant Z tier. He was amazing. I don't really think I need to elaborate on that at all. And then next up, we do have the Carnival LR Trunks. Alright, so let's go over his kit first before I decide where I should put him. So, this guy's good. He's a top 10, maybe top 15 unit in the game. He is stacking defense. He builds up some damage reduction. He has the standby, and in the standby, he does become pretty good. I know there's that one turn where he's, like, untouchable, because he's got the 50% damage reduction. And then, he has the guaranteed guard, but I don't know if it's for one turn, or if... Oh, no, he gets the guaranteed guard as the first attacker in his turn. Okay, so with that, I mean, defensively, he's going to be good, because, of course, this guy is stacking defense, and also, in his first state, or in his first transformation, whatever you want to call it, he's stacking defense. So then as long as you get those stacks in, then with the guard, he's going to be looking really impressive in his standby, and then, of course, you can drop this, which is, you know, going to hit very hard. So this guy has potential to be good in some situations, but defensively, you know, he's not really amazing, especially because he only has 30% damage reduction. So then for the first couple turns, with you not having stacked that much defense, this guy can take a lot of damage. So you have to be very careful with him. Honestly, he's got some of the same issues as the other Sword of Hope Trunks. So he's good. He's got a very high ceiling, but for the first couple turns, he can take some damage. He's better for the first couple turns than the Tech Trunks, though. So I think I'm going to put him at, like, a high A tier. I think that's fair. Because he's good, but... yeah, I don't know. But then are we putting the Trunks above the Blue Boys? See, that's why a tier list, like, it's complicated. Because then some units are better than other units, but then they're not better than these units, so then you gotta, like, rearrange it. Because, I don't know, Blue Boys for the first couple turns, I think they are better than the Trunks. And by the way, I would say these are ordered from, like, you know, the high A tier is the first unit here, and then it goes all the way to, like, the low A tier. Which doesn't make sense. Well, not including Z tier, because Z tier is, like, they're just all really good. But everybody else... it's like, you know, the Blue Boys, I would say, are a little bit better than Trunks, so they're, like, ahead of the Trunks. But then, I don't know, because it gets kind of complicated with that, because then is this Gohan better than this Trunks? I don't know. So, yeah, that's why a tier list is a little iffy. What we'll do is we'll review the tier list at the end of the video and just go over everyone. But anyway, next up, we have the Goku Black. Yeah, I mean, do I gotta say anything? I don't really think I do. And then we have the free-to-play units here. So the free-to-play units... I'm not really that big of a fan of, if I'm being honest. I think they could have been a lot better. This Trunks right here, more specifically, could have been a lot better because he does have the 50% chance to dodge when there's 4 or more Entrusted Will category allies on the team. Look, I'm fine if you want to restrict him to a team. If you want to restrict him to only an Entrusted Will team, hell, if you want to make it a Battle of Wits team, or Revenge, even though Revenge sucks, that's fine, I get it. Just make it to where he has guaranteed guard, or make it to where he has... a guaranteed spot to be useful on that team. Not just a high chance to be useful, or, you know, a medium chance to be good defensively. Make it to where he gets the guaranteed guard. So this being only a high chance to guard really sucks. He doesn't get defense on super. I mean, he's a little bit of a support, which is definitely good, but even that, you know, it does go away after a while. So, I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of this guy. I think he could have been a lot better, but he has some value. I'll give him that with the high chance of guard. And then there's the Int Trunks. This guy, I mean, what's there to say about him? He can get up to some reasonably high stats. So if you want to bring him in a difficult event with type advantage, he might look somewhat impressive. Like if you're taking on Cell Max and you really need a good slot 3 option, this guy might not be the worst unit to bring on the team, especially because he's free to play, so everyone has access to him rainbowed. You know, you could get him level 10 links, but everyone has access to him rainbowed and all that, and you can build him however you want in the hidden potential system just right off the bat. So I guess if you want to go full dodge, you know, he could be pretty useful, but I don't know, man. He's not that crazy. He's got the domain, which is decent, but it's not going to do a whole lot. I mean, it's just 10% to stats, so it's nice, but with everything else this guy has in his kit, I feel like he's lacking a little. So both the free-to-play units were pretty weak. I guess I'm going to put them both in, I mean, C tier makes the most sense, but then I don't want to put the banner units in the same tier as the free-to-play units, so I think we might have to move them up a little to B tier, because I'm not putting the free-to-play units in the same tier as the banner units. The banner units could have been better, but they're much better than these guys. At least these guys can be ran in difficult events if you are smart with how you use them. These guys, I mean, like I said, the Trunks, the Int Trunks, you might be able to take him in a difficult event, but even Supers are going to obliterate him. But then with these guys, you know, the Mai has the damage reduction, the Zamasu has the dodge. If you get lucky, you could kind of cook with them. So I definitely would rather just put these guys in their own tier because they're not very good. But I guess that's alright because they're free-to-play units. For some reason, Dokkan doesn't like making good free-to-play units unless, you know, it's Golden Week, which I don't know what that was. That was just like a fluke because we got good free-to-play units for Golden Week, and then they just stopped doing it. Like, I don't think any of the free-to-play units after that have been good. So, very weird with them. But anyway, next up we do have the LR Goku Black. Honestly, not a whole lot to talk about him. He's a good unit. He can do a lot of damage, and defensively he's pretty solid as well. So I think he's like a solid A tier. We'll put him... Ooh, where are we going to put him? I guess we'll put him right here. Because he's good. Like, he can do a lot of damage, but I don't know. Defensively, I mean, you know, he's a little wonky in a lot of situations. So, alright. I guess this is the final list. I know this is going to piss off a lot of people. Keep in mind, this is all just my opinion, though. You know, if you disagree with me, that's completely understandable. You probably think, you know, this guy should be all the way down here, or like this guy should be all the way up here, or like, you know, it's just my opinion. If you disagree, that's fine. Let me know in the comments why you think I'm wrong, but maybe be a little polite about it. So we'll just briefly go over this, see if we need to change anything. Zamasu in Z tier, I think is fair. Gohan in Z tier. All these guys in Z tier, yeah, it's fair. This guy in S tier is good. This guy's good. I mean, again, this guy has very high potential. If we're just talking about Vegito, you know, Z tier. Like I said, he's probably the best unit in the game, but because we have to go through the blue boys to get there, I do kind of throttle him down a little just because of that. The Trunks, like I said, for the first couple turns, he can get destroyed. The Goku Black can just kind of get destroyed defensively. He doesn't really get better defensively throughout the fight. So, unfortunately, Supers are doing a lot of damage to him, but he's still good. I mean, he can do a lot of damage, and defensively, he's good enough. And then the Trunks, like I said, the first couple turns kind of sucks. Zamasu's good, but, I mean, you know, it's a Sub-EZA. He's good for a Sub-EZA. I think considering, like, how other Sub-EZAs are handled, he's really good. It's just, you know, we're comparing him to other Dokkan Festival LRs, Dokkan Fest EZAs, and all that. So, of course, you know, he's going to be a little lower on the list, but still A tier is good for him. We got the EZA Gohan. Yeah, all these guys I think are good in B tier. And then they're in C tier. Yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty fair. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I feel like I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I think this is fair. So, I guess we could just call the video at that. Let me know what you guys are thinking of this list. Yeah, this tier list. Down in the comments. Let me know where you disagree, because I know some of you do. Just remember, try and be civil about it. This is just my opinion at the end of the day. So, once again, that has been the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.